Hello class, this is section 10.2, personal loans and simple interest. All right, so interest is what the fee charged for the use of money or to borrow money. Simple interest includes interest earned only at the end of a specific time period. All right, so here's a formula for interest. Interest is equal to the principal amount that you borrow times the interest rate times time. So once again, that's the principal amount, the amount that you borrow, the interest rate, and the time that you borrow it for. All right, note that the time and the interest rate must be in the same unit. So the interest rate and the time must both say annual interest rate or daily or monthly. Most of the time this is in years. So, most of the time the interest rate is in years. So therefore this would be in years most of the time. All right, if you're given days, then that means that you're supposed to convert the days to years by dividing by 360. If you're given months, you're supposed to convert months to years by dividing by 12, as you will see. So for the first example, they want us to find the interest, the simple interest, which is going to be P times R. Notice that I moved the decimal 2 spaces to the left, 1, 2, times T, which is already in years. That's annual interest rate, and this is years, so that those two units are the same. So now you can multiply using your calculators. Just 310 times 0.04 times 2 is $24.80. All right, the next problem would be interest is equal to 2,500, which is your principal amount, 0.065 if you move the decimal 2 spaces to the left. This is annual interest rate. This is in days, so we have to convert days to years. They want you to use 360 days. So that would be 90 out of 360. That's how you could convert from days to years. So let's multiply this out. 2,500 times 0.065 times 90 divided by 360 is $40.63 if you round to the nearest cent. So $40.63. Okay, the next one says interest is equal to principal amount times the interest rate. Notice that it's 3.78. Well, 7/8, if you divide that on your calculator, 7 divided by 8 is 0.875. So that's what that is. And then you have to convert to a decimal by moving the decimal 2 spaces to the left. So it's going to be 0.03875 times months, 9 months. That means you convert this to years by dividing by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. So 1,500 times 0.03875 times 9 divided by 12 is $43.59. $43.59. All right, the next one would be interest is 587, principal times interest rate, same thing. However, this is not an annual interest rate, it's a daily interest rate. So therefore this T must be in days, not months. So first thing we should do is convert this to a decimal by moving it 2 spaces to the left. So that would be 0.00045. The decimal was here, we went 1, 2. And then 2 months, since each month has 30 days in it, you're supposed to multiply this by 2. 30 times 2 is 60. And the only reason we converted this to days is because this says per day. If it doesn't say anything, then it's per year, like the others. All right, so if we do this on our calculator, we get $15.85. All right, the next question is saying Kevin borrows $2,200 from his grandparents to have corrective eye surgery. So that's the principal amount. 18 months to repay, and an annual interest rate of 0.075. All right, and this would be 18. If you convert that to years, you divide by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. All right, so we have everything we need. Interest is equal to the principal times the interest rate times the time, and that would be 2,200 times 0.075 times 18 divided by 12 is going to be $247.50. All right, so that's how much interest he owes his grandparents. Find the amount that he will pay at the end of 18 months. So to figure out how much total, you would have to take the amount that he borrowed, the principal amount, and you'd have to add 247, which is the interest. So he's going to pay his grandparents all this money back, which is going to be 0.05744, $2,447.50 back that he owes his grandparents after 18 months. All right, John borrows $240, so that would be our principal. After 1 month, so that's T, and that's going to be 1 out of 12, because that's how you convert to years, is divide by 12. And then they also actually tell us the interest. They tell you what I is. The interest is $48, and what they want us to find is the annual interest rate. So this time we're looking for R. R is unknown. So question mark. So we got I equals P times R times T. So I is 48, P is 240, interest is unknown, interest rate, and time is 1/12. The way you solve for R is you multiply both sides of the equation by 12 in this case. All right, and so now you're going to have 12 times 48 is 576 is equal to 240R. And then you would divide both sides of the equation by 240, and that's going to give you the interest rate. So it looks like it's 2.4. However, that's just the decimal. You still have to multiply by 100 to convert to a percent. So that's going to be 240% interest rate. That's super high. So he owes a very high, he's going to pay a high interest rate. There's another type of loan, the discount note, for which the interest is paid at the time the borrower receives the loan. So sometimes you can pay the interest up front when you first receive the loan instead of at the end, the back end. The interest charged in advance is called the bank discount. All right, so suppose that you wanted to borrow $500 using 10% discount note for a period of 3 months. Determine the interest that he must pay to the bank on the date that he receives the loan. So let's first find the interest. Principal, interest rate, 3 months would be 3 out of 12. All right, so what I would do is I would multiply by the reciprocal. Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. I would just go ahead and use my calculator. 3 out of 12, sorry about that. So if you multiply that through, you should get 500 times 0.1 times 3 divided by 12 is $12.50. All right, so now that was the interest that you would pay up front. So the original amount that you're borrowing minus the interest charged up front is going to be $500 minus $12.50 is going to equal to $487.50. So that's the amount that you're actually going to receive from the bank as the amount that you're actually going to borrow. All right, the actual interest rate. So now they want to know what the actual interest rate is. It's not really 10% because they're charging you a fee. So the actual interest rate would be, you treat this as if this were the principal amount now. So I equals PRT. The actual principal amount is that amount. So you should get $487.50 times R, which we don't know, times T, which was 3 out of 12. Same thing. In this case, oh, I'm sorry, we already know what the interest rate was. It's $12.50. So we're looking for the actual interest rate. So I would multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 12 thirds. 12 thirds. which is actually just 4. So if you multiply by 4, 1250 times 4 is 50. You should get 50 equals 487 and 50 are. Then you would divide both sides of the equation by this amount. Oops. You would divide by 487 and 50 cents. So R is going to be 50 divided by 487.5, which is 0.1026. 0.1026. And don't forget to multiply by 100 to convert that to a percent, which is 10.26%. So that was the actual interest rate that he took, the interest rate on the loan that he borrowed. All right, let's look at this one. Julie Jansen borrowed $36.50 from her bank for 8 months. So we know the P, the principal. We know the time. That's going to be 8 out of 12 because we're converting to years. And the bank discount at the loan is 7.5, so that's going to be 0.075. After we move the decimal places 2 units to the left. How much interest did Julie pay the bank for the use of its money? So interest is equal to P R T. All right, so calculator time gives us $182.50. How much did she receive from the bank? Well, that's when you subtract, right? The original minus the interest. So the original is $36.50 minus the interest. That's how you find the amount that she receives from the bank, which it looks like it's going to be $3,467 and 50 cents. What was the actual interest rate that she paid? So for that, now we're going to treat this as if this is the principal amount. So we know that the interest was $182.50. The principal amount is this new amount that we just found. R is what we're looking for, and then time is the same, 8 out of 12. So once again, we'll multiply by the reciprocal. All right, and so what's 12 times 182.5 divided by 8 is 273 and 75 cents. And then the final step is to divide by this coefficient. So we should get 3467.5 divided, and I'm getting the interest rate R is going to equal 0.0789. Don't forget to multiply by 100 to convert that to a percent. So it's going to be 7.89% interest rate. So actually it's higher than what's indicated. They indicate 7.5, but the reality it's higher because you're paying